Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the early slate and the main slate on DraftKings for Wednesday, June 6th. I got 5 early games today, and then we have a 10-game night slate, which I will cover after the early slate. Going to do everything like normal, talk about the pitching options I like on both slates, the batters I like. We'll talk about stacks and BVP play as well for both slates. Before we do get started looking at this early slate, though, make sure you guys drop a like on the video. I really appreciate it. And if you are new to the channel and you have not clicked that subscribe button yet, be sure you do subscribe down below so that way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. But yeah, pitcher on this early slate. As you can see, I'm going Carrasco Stratton here. Carrasco is not the most expensive pitcher on this slate, which is kind of a surprise. Mike Foltynewicz is actually the most expensive pitcher. He's 11.6. Obviously, that's a hefty price tag for Foltynewicz, but this is a good matchup for him. He's coming off a great start against the Nationals where he pitched a complete game with only allowing 2 hits and 11 strikeouts. Folty definitely has upside here, but that price tag, I just don't think I can pay that price tag for him, especially when you get Carrasco for $1,600 cheaper. And this is a good matchup for Carrasco. He's pitched really well against this Brewers team throughout the year. I know he pitched against them once this year and had a really good start. In Miller Park, looks like he pitched a complete game, allowed 5 hits, 2 runs, but did get 14 strikeouts. Carrasco definitely has some strikeout upside in this matchup, I feel like. And he's $1,600 cheaper than Foltynewicz, which is really the reason I like him. You get some good savings, good salary to pay for a few more bats if you choose to do so. So I'm kind of going Carrasco over Folty today, but you could go Folty in tournaments, especially because I feel like not many people are going to play him with him being that expensive. But looking at the SP2s today, SP2s I actually feel like there are multiple guys who could go to. I think Dylan Bundy against the Mets could be a play here. This Mets team, they are better versus righties than they are lefties, but Dylan Bundy has shown a ton of upside this year. And this is a matchup where he can get some strikeouts. If we do look at the projected lineup for the Mets, they don't strike out as much versus righties as they do lefties. But you still do have strikeouts with Frazier, Mesoraco, Zach Wheeler, and Rosario. All of them will strike out at a decent rate. Don't mind Bundy here. Don't mind Tanner Roark as well. For a little bit cheaper, gets a matchup at home versus the Rays. A matchup that we saw Max Scherzer totally go out and dominate in. Not saying Roark is anywhere close to Max Scherzer, but I do like that matchup for Roark, and he could be a play at 8,300 if you want to consider him. But the guy that I do really like is a cheaper play, and that is Chris Stratton. I do like him here at 6,700. He's getting a great ballpark upgrade here, or it's not really an upgrade, but Stratton's going to be getting a pitch in a great pitcher's park at home in San Francisco in AT&T. The best pitcher's park in the game. We've really seen Stratton have some decent starts at home this year. His last start against the Phillies pitched really well. 6 innings, only 4 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, 28 DraftKings points. He's definitely had some rough starts though at home. I think this is a spot where we can see Stratton have some success. He has faced this Diamondbacks team once this year. Did have a good start, 7 innings, allowed 5 hits, 1 run. Looks like he got 8 strikeouts, 26 DraftKings points when he faced the Diamondbacks earlier this year. Do like Stratton here. Love this ballpark. And I do like this strikeout matchup. I think there are Ks in this Diamondbacks lineup, especially when you get to the bottom. This lineup just hasn't been that good this year, and this ballpark really isn't going to help them either. Stratton's getting some good respect from Vegas. The Diamondbacks only have a 3.7 implied run total for today, and Stratton is a little bit of a favorite at -140. So I like him as a cheaper SP2 that you can go to. If you go him and Carrasco, that still leaves you, I think, like 3,900, might even be like 4K remaining per player. Definitely have salary to pay for bats if you choose to do so. So I like Carrasco and Stratton as my 2 pitchers on this slate. And then for bats, I'm really looking to the Indians on the early slate. So Yonder Alonso and Michael Brantley are 2 guys I like from the Indians. Just 2 guys that have hit righties well this year. Chase Anderson, not a gas can by any means, but is definitely a pitcher that has struggled this year. This is a terrible matchup for him, having to face the Indians at home. The Indians are so good at home. They don't strike out. They put the ball in play. This is just not a good spot for Chase Anderson. Right now, we don't have all the Vegas information for every game, but the Indians do have the highest implied run total as I'm recording this video at 5 runs. So I like them on the slate. I think Chase Anderson might struggle here. This is a matchup that could definitely give him some trouble. So I like Alonso and Brantley, 2 guys I think are worth paying up for. And then sort of a value play is Brandon Crawford. I like this spot for Brandon Crawford versus Clay Buchholz, a pitcher that I don't think is very good. This ballpark isn't really going to help Crawford. It does help Clay Buchholz a bit, but I still like Crawford here. I still think some of these Giants bats are in play. Like I said, Buchholz is a pitcher that I don't think is that good. I think Crawford's in play today. If you need a cheap second baseman, I do like Joe Panik. Even McCutchen you could go to. Buster Posey, I think, is always a fine catcher play. But I do like Crawford here. The guy has some power. He's hit the ball well at home. Did homer in his last game. Has 7 homers on the year. Batting .320, been hitting the ball well. So I like Crawford, 3,800. Looking for a cheap shortstop. I think he makes some sense today. But yeah, these are my 5 plays for the early slate. 5 guys that I like: Carrasco, Stratton, Yonder Alonso, Brandon Crawford, and Michael Brantley. Now we'll quickly go over some stacks and BVP plays on the early slate. So stacks for me, love the Indians here versus Chase Anderson. They are my number 1 stack. I think the Diamondbacks. I think the Nationals could be in play here. Looks like Johnny Venters is going to start for the Rays, but I'd imagine that's going to be like a bullpen game for the Rays. I don't think Venters is going to pitch that deep into the game. You could definitely look to the Nationals if you wanted to go to them. We don't have a starter for the Padres yet. At least they haven't released their starter as I'm recording this vid. But if it's someone that's bad, we could definitely consider the Braves here. Just depend on whoever starts for the Padres. Wish that game was being played in Atlanta, but I don't mind the Braves. Just kind of all depending on who's going to start for the Padres. But I think that's really it for stacks on the early slate. Looking at BVP plays, we don't have any with at least a 10 at-bat sample. Looking at PVB, though, we do have 2 plays here. Carlos Carrasco, he has done well in its matchup today with the Brewers. The Brewers are only hitting him for a .230 average, and Carrasco has 26 strikeouts through 74 at-bats. Brewers only have 17 hits against Carrasco, have not homered against him. And the Clay Buchholz, he has done well in this matchup with the Giants, but I still do like the Giants here. The Giants are only hitting Buchholz for a .222 average. Through 72 at-bats, they only have 16 hits. I do have 2 homers versus him. But yeah, that's it for BVP, PVB on the early slate. Now we'll go ahead and move on to the night slate. Look at the 10 games for tonight and talk about plays that we like. So a pitcher on the night slate, I do like Lance McCullers and Jose Quintana here. Clayton Kershaw is listed on DK as as the probable starter for the Dodgers, but I don't think he is going to pitch today. Looking on Fantasy Labs, they haven't released the projected starter yet. I don't think it's going to be Kershaw. Even if he was to pitch, I doubt I would consider him here versus the Pirates. I like McCullers, though, at 10-5 versus the Mariners. I like him over Nola. I think he's a better play than Ohtani is. McCullers is just a little bit cheaper than all of them. I think this is a good matchup, a matchup where he can have success. If we look at the Vegas information for this game, McCullers is a pretty nice favorite here at -185, and the Mariners only have a 3.4 implied run total. Just looking at how McCullers has pitched this year, he's been up and down, definitely, but he has had some really good starts against Cleveland. 8 strikeouts, 7 innings, 34 DK points. We know McCullers does have upside. 32 DK points against Oakland, 7 strikeouts there. 11 strikeouts when he faced this Mariners team earlier this year. Pitched 7 innings against them, only allowed 1 hit, and that 1 hit was a home run. I really like McCullers here. He's got PVB as well. If we look at it, the Mariners have struggled to hit McCullers, only hitting him for a 178 average through 101 at-bats. They only have 1 home run and 18 hits. Just think McCullers is probably the top pitcher on the slate. Definitely the pitcher I kind of want to pay up for. Like I said, prefer him over Nola, Ohtani, especially Jack Flaherty as well. And then looking at SP2s, I like Quintana here in this mid-range if you want to go to him. This is a matchup with the Phillies where I think Quintana could definitely rack up some Ks. This is a Phillies team that does strike out a lot. They have good hitters in their lineup, but they do have a lot of strikeouts in their lineup as well, especially when you get to the bottom. Nick Williams, Alfaro, Nola will all strike out. Kingery will definitely strike out a little bit as well. Abdul Herrera hasn't been striking out a ton this year, but put him up against a lefty, his K rate is increased. So I like Quintana here. He's pitching at home. I just think he's a good play at SP2 if you want to consider him at 8,800. Quintana's definitely been up and down this year, but I think this is a spot where we can see him have success. So I like Quintana as my SP2. Looking at some of the other SP2s, though, on the slate we could consider. I think Eduardo Rodriguez against Detroit at 9,400. If you can get up to him, you could definitely play Eduardo Rodriguez here. Jake Odorizzi, if you're looking for a cheaper play at home against the White Sox, don't mind Jake Odorizzi. Don't mind Sonny Gray either. Sonny Gray got priced up because he did come off a nice start against Baltimore. But I don't mind Sonny Gray here at 7K. I think he could be somewhat of a sneaky play. That definitely has some upside versus the Blue Jays. But I think that is really it for pitcher on the night slate. There isn't a lot I love at SP2. It's really like Quintana, Rodriguez, Gray, and Odorizzi. Those are kind of the cheaper options I'm considering. But yeah, we'll quickly go over some bad stacks and BVP plays. So hitters for me, don't know if I'm fully loading on some of the teams on this main slate, but do like the Red Sox here versus Blaine Hardy, a pitcher that I don't think is very good. Red Sox have a pretty crazy high total here at 5.8 runs versus Hardy. Getting to face a lefty, we are definitely going to want some of the righties from the Red Sox. And that's where that's where I like Eduardo Nunez. I was on him last night on Tuesday. Didn't have that great of a game. Only had like 6 or 7 DK points, but still, I think this is a good spot for Nunez. He's still dirt cheap. He should be batting 5th or 6th for this Red Sox team. Great value here, 3,200 for a team that I think is definitely going to put up some runs. And then the next play, Miguel Sano. Really like Miguel Sano here versus Santiago. Santiago, a lefty that definitely struggles to righties, gives up power as well. We know Sano has a ton of power, and 4,100 just feels like too cheap of a price tag for Miguel Sano, especially in this matchup versus a bad lefty. So I like him at first base or third base. You can play him at either position. Would probably play him at third base because first is usually more of a loaded position. Third base really isn't. So I like Miguel Sano at third base, 4,100, looking for a cheaper option there. I think he makes some sense. And then at shortstop, I do like the Athletics today. So Marcus Semien, 3,900, some good value from the Athletics if you're looking to them. Versus Bartolo Colon. Bartolo Colon really started to come back down to earth lately. Has really been having some rough starts. Things aren't going to get easy for him here. This isn't a great A's team, but they're getting a great ballpark upgrade here. This weather in Texas is going to be hot, humid, which definitely favors hitters. I like the A's here. They're dirt cheap versus Cologne. If Matt Joyce is in the lineup, I think he's good value at 3,400. You got Semien projected bat leadoff for 3,900. Jed Lowry, probably one of my favorite second basemen on this main slate at 4,500. Matt Olson, I think, is a great play as well at first base, 4,400. I'd say that's one of the reasons you should probably put Sano at third base because definitely want to get Matt Olson in there at first base. But yeah, do love the A's here versus Cologne. I really like Semien batting leadoff for that team. 3,900, great value at shortstop. But yeah, guys, these are my 5 plays for the night slate. Lance McCullers, Jose Quintana, Eduardo Nunez, Miguel Sano, and Marcus Semien. Now we will quickly go over stacks and BVP plays on the night slate. So stacks for me, the Red Sox and the Athletics are 2 teams I'm really focused on here. Especially the Athletics, if you need some value, this is a team you should be focused on. With Semien, Joyce, good cheap plays, even Lowry and Olsen are not very cheap, but I still think they're worth that $45 and $4,400 price tag. Especially Matt Olson, love Matt Olson here. But the value is really where you want to focus on, especially if you're trying to pay up for pitcher. Then the Red Sox, you got some value from this team as well with Nunez if you want to play him today. JD, Xander, obviously these guys are worth their price tag if you can fit them in. But playing McCullers, we kind of need to find the value, and that's where Nunez comes in. But yeah, definitely like the Red Sox here. Then like one-offs from the Twins I think could be fine versus Santiago, like the righties. Sano, Dozier, kind of the guys I'm focused on here. Even if you want to consider Eduardo Escobar, you could go to him. But Sano and Dozier, I do really like them from the Twins. Those are kind of all the teams I'm really stacking up today. Maybe like some one-offs from the Cardinals you could go to versus Chen, because Chen's been terrible this year, been terrible versus righties. So like Jose Martinez, I think Jed Jorko, Ozuna, these could be one-offs you consider, especially with their price tags all under 4K. Really good value there. But yeah, I think that is it for stacks on the night slate. Now we will quickly go over some BVP plays for this night slate. I do have a couple of them, got about 6 or 7, so we'll quickly go over these. Jonathan Lucroy, 5 for 11 versus Cologne. Adrian Beltre is 6 for 10 versus Daniel Migden. Brian Dozier has some BVP versus Santiago. He's 5 for 16. Kyle Seager, only guy that's hit McCullers well with a decent sample. Seager's 8 for 24 with the home run. Zach Cozart, 5 for 11 versus Kennedy. Kinsler is 8 for 23 with 2 home runs versus Ian Kennedy. And Justin Upton has also hit Kennedy well, 7 for 24 with the home run. Then the pitchers that I've done well, I talked about Lance McCullers earlier, his PVB. He's done well in the past in this matchup with the Mariners. And then Sonny Gray has done well against the Blue Jays. Blue Jays are only hitting him for a 205 average through 112 at-bats, only have 2 home runs and 23 hits versus Sonny Gray. But yeah, guys, I think that's it for BVP and PVB on the night slate, and I think that's it for the video, or for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Hopefully this bit helped you. If you did enjoy, just make sure you click that like button before you get out of here. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already. And if you do have questions, you can always hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GO, or feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. And good luck tonight on these slates, guys. Peace.